Welcome to the November 5th meeting of the Conservation Commission. We'll start with a roll call of commissioners present. Member Cook.
Here.
Bella. Sergeant. Here. Terry. Here. Member Jackson.
Here.
Member present.
First item on the agenda is administrative briefing. You have anything?
I don't really have anything this evening. You have one item that we'll be hearing out of order. Conflict. It'll be after the NOI 028-3020 to High Rock Terrace. We'll be hearing about the violation at 145 Atlantic Road.
Okay. Next up is public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to make a comment or ask questions about matters that are not on the agenda for tonight. If anybody wishes to speak, please raise your hand.
We have 21 folks on the Zoom with no hands up, none here in the room.
All right, I'll close the public comment period. Next item is minutes review and approval. Minutes of October 15th.
Commissioner Jackson moves to approve the minutes of the Conservation Commission meeting of October 15th, 2025 as amended.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Sergeant. Yes. Member Siri.
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 4 is continued business. First item is NOI 0282976 at 171 and 281R Magnolia Avenue. Mag LLC, the applicant. This has been requested to continue until December 17th, 2025.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0282976 at 171 and 281 Rear Magnolia Avenue to the Conservation Commission meeting of December 17th, 2025.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
We'll call Member Cook.
Yes.
Sergeant. Yes. Member Materi.
Yes.
And Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, next item is NOI 0283006 at 105 Wingersheek Road. 125 Wingersheek LLC is the applicant. This item has been previously continued to the meeting of November 19th, 2025. Next item is NOI 0283007 at 107 Wingersheek Road, also 125 Wingersheek LLC. This matter has also been previously continued to the meeting of November 19th, 2025. Next item, NOI 0283080 at 598 and 600 Essex Avenue, Michael Oliver, applicant. This matter has also been previously continued to the meeting of November 19th, 2025. Next up is NOI 0283020 at 2 High Rock Terrace, David Carbone and Susan McNulty as applicants. This is a project to raise and rebuild a single-family home and associated appurtenances and dune restoration within coastal dune and land subject to coastal storm flowage, buffer zone to coastal resource areas. Devin Tabor of Lucas Environmental LLC representing.
Good evening, commissioners. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. For the record, my name is Devin Tabor from Lucas Environmental, representing the applicants and homeowners. Our project team is present both in person and virtually. Joining me now, it seems like everyone's logging on. I have Chris Lucas from Lucas Environmental, attorney Joel Favazza, which I believe is there in person, Mr. Dan Ottenheimer from Mill River Consulting, who's the project engineer. I believe he's in person, and Hillary Holdsworth, who is the landscape designer. I did just want to acknowledge the presence of, looks like Beals and Thomas is all here, led by Andrew, Stacy, and Dan. They're here to address any comments, questions, concerns, as they are the third-party peer reviewer chosen by the commission. I would just like to start and provide a brief update on the status of the peer review process, which has been our focus since we were last before you on September 3rd. On that September 3rd meeting, that sort of concluded with an alignment between the commission, Beals and Thomas and our technical team regarding the location of the resource area, specifically the primary frontal dune limits. Since we've provided supplementary information on October 7th, addressed outstanding comments, and then submitted a revised plan, narrative, etc., now before you on October 30th. Critically, I did just want to note that we received a letter this morning, November 5th, that the technical team at Beals and Thomas confirmed all comments have been addressed to date, and it seems like, the team appears satisfied with the current project design, which is great. Separately, I did just want to note that Mass DEP issued a second round of technical comments on October 24th. These comments did not introduce any new scientific or technical evidence that would alter our determination of the primary frontal dune location. We reached out to DEP, tried to open up a dialogue, but Mr. Tyler Farrick, who is the analyst for this particular project, responded that as the commission is the issuing authority, he could not meet with us to discuss the project since it's under your review. I believe that email correspondence was submitted on the record and is in your files as I looked this morning. So to kind of wrap things up, keep things going here, our team has provided a substantial amount of scientific evidence over the past year that this project has been before you. We maintain that our delineation is accurate and our project fully complies with the performance standards set forth. And given the positive conclusion from the peer review process, we believe we are in a strong position to close the public hearing tonight. I'd like to hand it over to the commission to open up for any questions from, anyone. That would be great. Our team's prepared to address those accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll open up to public comment. Any members of the public who wish to comment on this project, please raise your hand.
Currently have no hands up on the Zoom and none here in person.
Okay, we'll do commissioner roll call comments.
Cook.
I have no additional comments.
Thank you for the meaningful changes. I'd like to incorporate Beals and Thomas suggested conditions, and I'd like a 2-year monitoring for the mortality and mitigation plantings, a perpetual condition in the COC that prohibits further alteration within the mitigation area, except as may be required to maintain the area in its mitigated condition, and all dewatering must be adequately treated before being discharged. Thank you.
Siri.
I have no additional comments. I just want to thank the project team, Devin, your team at Lucas, and Beals and Thomas peer reviewers for providing us with a lot of information. I found DEP comments interesting, but I also believe that applicant's consultant has provided extensive analysis supporting the primary frontal dune delineation, and that the peer reviewer has largely concurred with that and has found no remaining issues. So I'm satisfied to proceed with this matter.
Member Jackson.
I also appreciate the work that has gone into this application. I'm vaguely uncomfortable with DEP's dissatisfaction with the primary frontal dune delineation, but we have our experts agreeing with the findings that your experts have come up with, and I don't know what else we can do. So I'm going with it. I have no other comments. I would like to hear from our agent.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have a whole lot of additional comments. Obviously, the disagreement with CZM and DEP is a little challenging to come away with a clean vote with everybody feeling good about it. But I think a lot of good arguments have been made about it. So yeah, it's been a long road on this one.
I will make one last comment on that point about the DEP comments, is that we are the issuing authority, and so it is really up to us as commissioners to decide how we feel. So, if we are comfortable with the evidence that's been presented and the delineation satisfies us in our review, then
Okay, in that case, Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0283020 at 2 High Rock Terrace.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0283020 at 2 High Rock Terrace, including the conditions set forth by Beals and Thomas, those set forth by Mr. Sargent tonight, and all of the other ones that have been previously discussed.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, commissioners. It has been a long journey and we appreciate your diligence on this and your time. So enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
All right, so we're hearing a violation at 145 Atlantic at the time.
Yes, if that.
For the record, Commissioner Jackson recuses.
All right, so we're skipping ahead in the agenda to the violation section, and we're calling the matter at 145 Atlantic Road. There's somebody representing.
Yes, Mike DeRosa is here now.
Hello, everyone. Mike DeRosa, DeRosa Environmental. And thank you for taking me out of sequence tonight. I appreciate that. I will share my screen. We got off to a bumpy start on this one, but I think we have things in a better situation now. Let me move my. Technology is just not going my way. Can everyone see this at this
Yes.
point?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So we're off to a bumpy start. There was miscommunication or misunderstanding. Mr. Wood thought that the pre-construction site walk was his notice to us that he was going to start soon. It was our understanding and I think Chuck's understanding that we were going to get a phone call a couple days before he actually brought machines to the site and did the work. So things were not, communication was not 100% there. And then understandably, he thought the arborist, Mark Chicoria, wasn't needed until the tree work was actually happening, not for the brush removal. So that was his misunderstanding on that. But as we've complied with the cease and desist. I've got photos that I can show you, which I'll run through. These were from today. The erosion control has been extended, so all the disturbed soil has been identified there. It's a flat area, so I'm not too concerned about runoff at this point. They did have erosion control put around the stockpile of soil. This stockpile is proposed to be removed. This was from the grading up near the pool portion of the project. So this is slated to be removed from the site. And this is the area that Chuck and I are concerned about. This is the area of wetland C. And when the operator was grading out this area, he graded over wetland C. So we've got probably between 4 inches and a foot of fill over wetland C. This is wetland C here. So that photo was looking down from the north towards wetland C, and the grading is right up against the road there. So that's that needs to be taken out. And we'll get to that in a second, but we obviously have to restore that, and we have to restore the connection to the to wetland B as well. Stop it. This you can see, this is where wetland C is. This is where the hydraulic connection between the two wetlands are. No real damage at all really to the to wetland B, so that's good. They did line up some boulders here. They were not aware of wetland C, so they lined the boulders up around the perimeter of wetland B to protect it. And they were gonna just grade this out and seed it. There is an upland area between the two, and there's a swale that connects these two wetlands, so that needs to all be restored. I don't see any damage for the stones and the boulders being there, but up to the discretion of the commission, they weren't on the plan. So that is an item we should discuss. There's also some additional invasives, Asiatic bittersweet, privet, and Japanese barberry and Japanese knotweed all need to be continued to be taken out on the north. We have plantings going in here, trees and such. So what I wanted to propose to the commission is that erosion control has been in. We got to remove the fill in wetland C and reestablish those contours. We'll seed and we'll hay mulch that for the winter and keep it stabilized for the winter. We'd like to continue with the invasive removal on the north side of that property there while the machine is there. We'd like to remove the stockpile and the brush that's there, that's on site, that was scheduled to be removed. And then seed and hay mulch all the disturbed soils on the house side of Atlantic Road before we do any more work. Once the north side of the road gets all stabilized, what I would propose is that we set up a site visit with Chuck to review that, make sure he's happy with that work. We will do all the oversight along with Mark Chicoria from Chicoria Tree. So we will be very involved from here on out to make sure that things are done right. Mr. Wood knows that, and he knows that we'd be involved. And then once things get all stabilized, we would then ask to go back and continue with the work across the street and continue the removal of the invasives there. And then in the spring, all the seeding and all the planting will happen first thing in the spring. We'll replant wetland C and make sure we'll use the same perennial wetland plants that we're using for wetland B to augment wetland B. So we'll just continue that habitat through there. So we're hoping this is okay with the commission, this strategy of intense oversight and then a check-in after we get the north side of or the house side of the street done and stable. So that's what I wanted to share tonight and ask the commission to allow us to get back to work.
All right, thank you. We're just going right to comments. Mr. Comments?
Sure. Member Cook?
Not happy with this at all. I mean, if you look at the history on this particular site, it's all been about, let's just do what we want to do, and then we'll try to deal with it afterwards. We're talking about the back of the house, now the front of the house. I thought we were extremely lenient when we issued the order of conditions to allow them to do this with every intention. They were well aware of how the commission felt about this. So personally, I want to go back and revisit the original plans. I want to double or triple. I want to put trees along the road and I want to prevent any work from being done on the opposite side of the road. That's how upset I am about this particular site.
Member Sergeant.
I agree with your strategy generally. One of the things that keeps on being pounded into my head is that an NOI, which this is asking for permission. And what you're talking about is restoration. And that generally comes under an enforcement order. So I'm thinking that there should be an enforcement order for restoration for wetland C as well as the connection to wetland B. But under strict review, I don't have any problems with stabilizing the site and moving forward. But that's my 2 cents. But I'll really pass a lot of my judgment on to the agent who was there today. Thank you.
Member Two.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Sargent about an enforcement order to cover the restoration work. I would like to see I guess, a restoration plan submitted in connection with that. I would like also a condition that you or the arborist be on site to oversee all that work when it happens and to make sure that the owner is clear on the timeline of what can be done and when. Yeah, I guess with those, I'll leave it over to Chuck to add in too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the sentiment of having an enforcement order being really the only vehicle to compel the person to do the work to restore the wetland and the additional vegetation that was taken out. And, I think holding off on the oceanside work until things are back in order here. We've already had, this is the second violation now, this property. So I think, kind of tough to allow free rein is continuing there. I guess, the boulder situation, I don't necessarily have a strong feeling about it one way or the other. I don't think it's causing harm. I guess the question I have is, are those boulders placed outside of the wetland flags or are they inside of the wetlands there? I think having those there will obviously keep them from hitting a lawnmower or other equipment into that wetland. And maybe we need more boulders around the other wetland too. I don't know. I guess, yeah, I'd kind of like to see more of an assessment of where exactly all this damage has been done. It's hard to go back and do forensics on clear, grading of a site. But that area that you're talking about with the additional invasive species removal, there was a lot of native trees and other things in that area. So it wasn't just invasives that were moved up there. So I think the restoration plan that's submitted needs to account for what was there and bring it eventually back into some semblance of a buffer zone.
Those boulders intended to be permanent in that location?
Yeah, I think their intent is to keep them as a barrier, as a visual barrier for the wetland. So I'm like Chuck, I don't see them as necessarily a negative thing. And obviously the nooks and crannies in between the boulders will be good for habitat, but we can certainly look at exactly where they are on the ground in relation to where the wetland line was, because obviously all those flags are gone now.
Can you get back out there and reflag?
I can.
I guess getting back out there.
Actually, yeah, we can have Meridian they have all the coordinates of the flags, they can relocate that line.
Okay, I guess the first thing would then be to reflag all the wetlands. I think we're gonna need a restoration plan that shows disturbed areas and trees and native trees and plantings that were removed, as well as a plan of what's going to be in the restoration plantings and what's going to be replacing those areas. I think a stop work order until that is submitted is probably appropriate. a pause on any work on the ocean side until that restoration is completed. You think you can get a violation or enforcement order written up before? I mean, if we can get the restoration plan before the next meeting, you can vote on an enforcement order. And you can start implementing the restoration work before, and then once that restoration work is complete, then the rest of the work and the order conditions can continue. I think that's a reasonable way forward. Bill and Dave, do you guys have any other thoughts?
I think you spoke well.
Bill, anything?
Bill frozen.
Okay.
No,
All right. So,
So I think, when is the next meeting?
19th.
Okay, so we'll work on a restoration plan for the 19th. And we'll do the restoration work under the enforcement order, is what I'm hearing. And once that's all set and done, we'll walk the site with Chuck and give the commission an update before we go any further.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate, again, being taken out of order. Much appreciated. Good night, everyone.
Going back to continued business. And Joe is back. We have NOI 0283036 at 3, 6, and 7 Welch Lane, R Woodman Street. RDL Welch Lane LLC is the applicant. This is a proposal for a road and stormwater system construction, utility installation buffer zone, of bordering vegetated wetlands. Joel Favazza from Seaside Legal Solutions. Representing.
Thank you. Chuck for having me as a panelist. Let's give you a brief update on the progress we've made, and then I'm going to ask for a
Commissioners, sorry, recuses, or because you're not requesting continuance, so.
There will be, but yes, there'll be an update, so. The only vote will be on a continued, go over there, that's whatever is safest for you. So, we just, in the last few days, received updated plans from the civil engineers. And I'm going to give you a quick peek at what we decided to do in light of the comments received from St. Sampson third-party reviewers on this. So, to be very clear, this is all approximation. Oh, and I'm also sorry, for the record, Joel Favazza, Seaside Legal Solutions, 123 Main Street, Math, the applicant. So, as the Weston Sampson correctly pointed out, there was some work done relating to this duplex in 2016, and there's supposed to be a limit delineated of no further work beyond this limit. I've approximated that with this red line shown here. And the original proposal for one of the stormwater management systems was in this area and beyond this line, which obviously conflicts with the terms of that prior order of condition. We went to go see if the markers were out somewhere along this line. It looks like they actually just kind of put the markers up on the guardrail. And so we've gone back to the original order condition and figured out where the markers are supposed to be. Again, this is all approximation. And then essentially what we've decided to do is take that stormwater drain management system and just scoot it up into basically the driveway and right the retaining wall area. So this, what used to be down here too far, where Essex Avenue is getting moved up. Obviously you can understand in the beginning, not realizing there was this line here, it made more sense to go onto the slope because you wouldn't have to disturb the driveway, the retaining wall, et cetera. But now because of the constraints of this line, the plan is to jog this back. And then the other piece of update is that we went and had Bill Manuel, who did the original delineations. You know, there's an active ORAD on this, but it's active due to extensions granted by this commission and extensions granted by the acts of legislature. So Weston Sampson said, although while it's active, we'd like you to please go back and make sure that, you know, things haven't changed radically in the 8 years since it was first delineated. So Bill Manuel went back out there and we'll be submitting along with the updated plans, a letter from him dated October 31st, in which he just kind of points out virtually all the flag boundaries controlled by either Essex Avenue or occurs along the base of the sloping topography. He says, after walking the wetland boundary, I concur the wetland flags remain accurate to define the wetland resource area. And I believe he went back out there and also reestablished wetland flags where he had placed them, the original ORAD. And so my only kind of, I'm gonna have to decide this tonight, my suggestion, my request is going to be with regard to that last bit of compliance with the earlier NOI order of condition relating to those markers, that limitation of work. Because there's going to be, hopefully, you know, if this goes through, work happening in there. We'd like to, you know, most located on a temporary basis, if the commission wants to go out and see. We say, here's where it is, we've kind of flagged it, but not install, not relocate the permanent markers until any additional work is done, and then make that a condition of closing out whatever we might get on this project to make sure that 2016 line that required permanent boundaries gets, you know, anything temporary put in now gets made permanent. It was just kind of foolish to put the permanent markers in, knowing that if this was forward, within a few feet of that marker line, there's going to be work happening and something could, you know, damage the markers. But we don't have to decide that tonight. I'm just going to put on the radar that because there is an active request for that COC that was granted a while back to be reissued, that would be my suggestion as to how to get through that. So that's where we are. You should be expecting to see by the end of this week, if not just tomorrow, the formal submission of the updated plans. Bill Manuel's letter confirming the wetland delineation remains accurate. Because this is under third-party review, and I appreciate that everyone has busy schedules, I think it would make sense to push this out 2 meetings to December 3rd. That way it gives our third-party reviewer time to review the updated submissions and hopefully have some responses back prior to that meeting. If that makes sense on your end.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to have a comment or?
Yeah.
As well.
Okay, I'm gonna open up this public comment. Any members of the public who have comments on this project, please raise your hand.
No hands up on Zoom and none here.
All right, Commissioner, roll call comments.
Member Cook,
No comments.
Member Terry.
Yes, I just have one question. If you're about the permanent markers, are you then going to withdraw the request for certificate of compliance, or are we not going to be able to issue that? Or how do you see that playing out?
Well, my suggestion is, one, it was already issued, it just never got handled. Like that, this commission has already voted to issue a certificate of compliance. It just didn't get administratively completed after the vote. So I'd say that it'd be hard for this commission to legally say we're not going forward with it because you've already approved it. I mean, Commissioner Viteri, obviously you weren't here for that. Secondly, what I would say is that if there was some condition into any reissued certificate of compliance that said, should NOI, I don't know the number in front of me, the current NOI in front of you, become an order of conditions, then these permanent markers must be a condition of that. And if this NOI is unsuccessful and does not become, then some length of trigger time within 60 days of, this NOI going away, these markers must be installed. Just seems silly to say, go put the markers out there, we'll give you the COC, and then they might get wrecked, and then we'll have you put them back. You say, hey, we were okay at one point with the markers as they had been placed kind of on the guardrail. And we know that we're going to get another bite at the apple if we approve this new project to make sure they go in the correct place. This time, Chuck will be doing the COC inspection, and we're very much aware that, you can't just slap them on the guardrail, you have to put them in the right spot. That's how I'd suggest we handle it kind of pragmatically. You're the chair and I'm applicant's representative, so.
I don't know if we were okay with them being.
That's what they were when you voted.
I guess then later tonight, we're going to have this discussion of the certificate of compliance. So are you expecting us to put that condition on and issue certificate of compliance with that additional condition tonight?
No, I think we're okay to continue that. We're so, I just know we need to get the COC wrapped before we're able to close out the NOI. We're nowhere near closing out the NOI, so I'm okay to kind of let that thought percolate for a little bit and maybe revisit that when we come back on the 3rd to talk about moving forward.
Several agents ago told us that if we found out new information, we could always vote to for a decision. So we could do that. I would prefer not to do it. Can you attach a condition to a certificate of compliance? I
It
suppose
hasn't,
you could, yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
hasn't been, ended up yet.
Yeah.
We might be,
I mean, I did reach out to the circuit rider about adding conditions to certificates of compliance that weren't on the original order of conditions. There's some that are called for in the Wetlands Protection Act. Those can be added because they shall be added per the act. But if the commission finds that additional conditions need to be added to the COC because it's necessary to protect the resource area, those can be added, even though they were not part of the original order of conditions. So,
What if, what if a condition was part of the original order and it got missed? That was my
I
question.
mean, yeah, I mean, that's, should have been caught, I guess.
Would it
during
have
the
to,
vote.
would it take a vote to withdraw the original COC and then?
Well, no, that's the first time this has come up, so.
I agree. All right, but we don't have to make a decision on it tonight.
no, I guess we can, both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I'm just trying to understand how put a marker in as a designated do not disturb area and that marker gets disturbed. Kind of not giving its purpose.
Right, sure.
So,
I guess that's why I'm saying I'm willing to I think it makes sense to say, hey, get it delineated so when people are in the field, there is that visual, right? I just don't know if it makes sense to put in permanent, permanent bounds that are, while there's still work going on. The other alternative would be to, if the commission was comfortable, again, we're looking way forward now. If we got to the point where the commission was comfortable with the current NOI in front of them and it was, moving forward to a hopefully a successful, vote to approve and issue an order of conditions. If you're okay issuing that order of conditions while the COC was hanging on the other one. But the reason we were getting into this is because we didn't even realize, I wasn't even Mr. Blank's attorney at the time. He said that those were closed out years ago, Joel. We looked and said, oh, almost, yeah. Like you definitely went back and definitely voted to close them out. Just that last step was missing. And so it was, I think it came up in Weston Sampson's review saying, hey, these really should get closed out before you issue any new orders. If you want to say, given the new information that these were voted on to close out, we just didn't issue them physically on paper. And so therefore we're comfortable moving forward with this NOI. And then we do the COCs together, this one and that one after the work for the drainage system was done. That's another way you can do it. You just leave that unissued until we come asking for the new one. If it's any better for you, but they'd have to get comfortable with the idea of, oh, there's an open sort of COC or COC with an asterisk that we haven't quite erased yet while we're issuing a new order of condition. And you can condition that OOC on when you come back for a COC, you must close the loop on that first COC from 2016. That way you're not taking a vote to rescind, which I'd appreciate you not doing, and you're not closing out the COC without conditions in place, physical conditions in place that were part of it, right? If you don't want to say, hey, we'll let you go, even though the markers aren't there yet, that's okay. Keep it open and then make it a condition of the new one saying you can't get the COC until you get that COC, but we'll give you an OOC before you get that COC.
well, so you're saying that those markers are in place on the.
And yeah, I believe some markers were put on the guardrail. It was not.
Where are the markers?
Are they there now?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so technically there are markers in place. We could close out the COC as part of the NOI filing. You could say, we don't believe that those are in the correct place. We're proposing to move them.
Okay.
And that can be covered under the NOI.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna suggest.
So I can submit photographs of what is on the guardrail. And then again, we can pick this up on the third and say, hey, yeah, well, that makes sense. That'll be,
Yeah, yeah.
And if you can maybe send us a map of where you're proposing it should be.
yeah, you'll see, so when you get the updated civil site plan set, you will see they have delineated, they have pulled from the 2016 plans and they've shown on the new plans where that line is supposed to be. And that would be the line proposed to actually relocate them correctly.
Is that gonna be where they put the limit of work or the sedimentation stock or anything
I
like that?
believe that the limit of work is in some locations close to it. In some locations, the limit of work is actually further up the slope, like giving a gap basically between the 2016 line and where the limit of work will be on this one.
All right, well, I guess we can continue for submission of photographs and in addition to the other materials you were planning on submitting. And it comes to, we can continue the certificate of compliance request and discuss it further how we want to handle.
Okay. Did you need me tonight for that, or can I request now to continue the CFC conversation to a third also?
Do that.
You want to get out of here?
I'd like to. It's getting warm up here. I'm watching how I get sweater for a senior center.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0283036, 36 and 7 Welch Lane and Rear Woodman Street due to the Conservation Commission meeting of December 3rd, 2025.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Materi,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
We don't need to. We need to continue the. Maybe official.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda.
Record Commissioner.
NOI 0283076 at 481 Western Avenue. The trustees of reservation and Darling applicant. Project for removal and repair of bog bridges and bordering vegetated wetlands. Ned Darling, trustees of reservations representative.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Chuck, I have one question. I have someone else from the trustees who's on the meeting. Is it possible to have them also be a panelist for this discussion?
Yeah, if they can raise their hand or let me know their name.
Okay, they're Jeremy Dick.
There you go.
Okay, great. So the last meeting we were at, for this project, we discovered we had to go back and do a MISA review, with the state. The MISA review came back to us. They want us to do a botany survey, of the area that we're doing the work in, for a data sensitive plant. I talked to the ecologist, to our ecologist, and he said basically we need to talk more with the state to get a botany survey for that, for them to be good with us proceeding with the plan that we presented them in the review. I know there was also concern expressed about using pressure treated lumber in the structure that we're building. We've looked at a lot of comparative pricing, and I don't think it's going to be possible for us to pursue alternatives like cedar or locust because they're prohibitively expensive for the like linear footage that we're trying to achieve here. Chuck sent me a bunch of documents. I've looked over a bunch of the stuff from the Forest Service, other things. I'm trying to find good alternatives, but it's kind of hard for us to find an alternative to using pressure treatment for the sill timbers in this structure, because it's simply almost 6 to 7 times more expensive for us to use like native alternative hardwoods. So we're trying to figure out how to go forward with that. We know that no matter what, we have to do this process with natural heritage and the endangered species program. So this timeline is like a little bit more protracted than we thought it was going to be.
Okay. I think we'll open it up to public comments now. Any members of the public who wish to comment on this project, please raise your hand.
We have no hands up on the Zoom and none here in person.
Hey, Commissioner roll call comments?
Cook.
I know you've been looking at some other types of woods and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Have you also looked at the different coatings that you can put on there? There are several coatings that are available
Okay.
that won't leach in.
Okay, so sorry, just to clarify, would that be a coating used on material to prevent leaching, or is that used on untreated lumber?
That's used on untreated.
Untreated. Okay. No, I haven't explored those options. I actually didn't even really know that those were things that people used in this specific environment. So
Member Sargent.
There are. I can't give you the names off the top of my head, but there's several that are listed for use in marine environments and water environments to prevent.
Member Sargent.
May I suggest that you respond after everybody has made comments rather than back and forth between members of the commission? No matter what happens, I want to incorporate national heritage conditions, and in my mind, there has to be a prohibition on anything that's toxic, the aquatic environment, such as, the proposed use of pressure treated wood. It's a hard no on my part, if you can't abide by that. What price do you put on preserving wetlands and protecting endangered species? Thank you.
Member Siri.
Yeah, in addition to the NHESP conditions, I'd like to see an additional condition to contact the commission if there's any change to the plans or the scope of work, and to contact the commission or the agent after the botany survey is completed and prior to commencing the work.
Member Jackson.
I have no additional comments.
Do you want to take some time to investigate Commissioner Cook's suggestion of additional coatings that you could apply to untreated wood?
yeah, we can pursue that.
Would you like to continue to the next meeting so you can look into that?
Yes.
Would
Well,
you
how
like
long do you
to-
think it's going to address? How long will it take to address the MESA issues?
Well, so the issue is that the plant that they want us to do a survey for is in its dormant stage right now. So we have to talk with them. I talked to our trustees ecologist, and he said that he knows this plant's in its dormant stage right now. So we need to talk to NHESP to figure out whether they deem it acceptable for us to do a survey for it in its dormant stage.
Okay, so if we only push you out one meeting, that may not even be adequate anyway.
Yes, correct.
Well, I mean, we could issue an order of conditions that is conditioned on the work happening after that survey is completed. I think that the NHESP conditions contemplated that work, that survey and the botany survey would be completed before any work actually happens. So,
Yeah, that's a thought.
all right, so did you have any other responses that you wanted to make to any other commissioner comments?
I don't believe so, no.
Well, I think we can push it out of meeting so you can look into that coding issue a little bit further and then see what you come up with.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to continue for NOI 0283076 at 481 Western Avenue to the meeting of November 19th.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is NOI 0283077 at 37 Massasoit Road. Daniel Fonzie is the applicant. I believe there's a request to continue this to January 7th, 2026.
Yes, Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0283077 at 37 Massasoit Road. Conservation Commission meeting of January 7th, 2026.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Next item, NOI 0283091 at 33 Way Road. Lata Shukla is the applicant. This is a project for ecological restoration limited project for the management of aquatic vegetation species with herbicides and algicides in Shukla Pond, land under water bodies and water graves. Andrew Tebow from Goddard Consulting representative.
We did have a late request this afternoon to continue this to November 15th. I'm sorry, 19th.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0283091 at 33 Way Road to the Conservation Commission meeting of November 19th, 2020.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Yes. Member Terry,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay. Next item is NOI 0283094 at 11 Apple Street. Francesca Giacalone, applicant, new home construction in buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands and bank. Dan Ottenheimer from Nolan Consulting.
Commissioners, good evening. Oh, hello. So this is a continuation. We discussed this project at the last meeting. The big issue that the commission brought up, appropriately so, was we had just provided a list of some possible plants. And you had said, can we do an actual planting plan? So we have been able to implement that. The commission also had some other good suggestions about possibly reconfiguring the parking area. We were able to implement that. And also pointed out that there was some more asphalt way in the back of the lot that we hadn't shown. So we've now shown that on our plan as well. So we've provided all the material for you. Obviously, we can bring that up if there's anything that we want to review. But just as a brief refresher, this is all a buffer zone project. Proposed house and mitigation for the rooftop area is 2-to-1 native plant species to the rooftop area that's been created.
Thank you very much. We'll open this up to public comments. Any members of the public who wish to comment on this project, please raise your hand.
No hands up on Zoom and none here in person.
Hey, Commissioner, roll call comments.
Member Cook. You're muted.
Want to thank you for the planting plan. It looks really good. I have no other comments.
Member Sergeant.
Yeah, thank you for the change, including more descriptive native species planting plan. Still wondering about, that driveway removal. On the plan, it doesn't show that anything's going to happen there. I'm just wondering if you're gonna let that go wild. And I suggest that the homeowners, I'd like a 2-year monitoring for the mortality mitigation plantings. And all the watering must be adequately treated before being discharged. And please be aware that this site has a fair chance of having some significant archaeological artifacts. Please excavate carefully.
Member Terry.
I also appreciate the more detailed planting plan. I don't have any further comments.
Member Jackson.
I echo Mr. Vitteri's comments.
Thank you. So I forgot to mention, excuse me, I did talk to the owner about what they might encounter when they dig and to dig carefully. So thank you. I meant to mention that. I forgot. If we want to maybe bring up the plan, we can talk about that area at the end of the driveway.
Yeah.
If we're in sync on that.
Yep.
Thank you, Chuck. So you're referring to this area back here?
Yeah.
Right. So we, obviously, we don't have anything specifically proposed there because we did have enough planting to accommodate the required amount in this area, but there's no harm in, we're going to be removing this, and there's asphalt here and there's asphalt here. So you're right, this does need to be planted. So perhaps as, if the commission's comfortable, as a condition of the order, that this area towards the northern part of the lot where the asphalt's removed needs to be planted with native species as well. I think we'd be fine with that.
It would be great.
Commissioner Chuck, did you have any additional comments?
No, I think that's good because that is also kind of a steep slope beyond that, so it'd be good to have that stabilized.
Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0823094 at 11 Apple Street.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Oh, Member Cook,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 020823094 at 11 Apple Street with the aforementioned condition.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Oh, Member Cook.
Yes.
Yes. Member Terry
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Wonderful. Commissioners, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you. On the next item, NOI 0283095 at 6 Brewster's Lane and 13 High Rock Terrace, Lisa Latoff Perlo. The applicant, this is to raise and rebuild a dwelling in Rutgers on the Coastal Bank. John Judd from Gateway Consultants. Representing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, John Judd, engineer with Gateway Consultants, representing the applicant for this property. What I can do is share my drawing showing the latest site plan that was submitted. At our last hearing, there were some questions regarding the area of the rain garden and the soil conditions there. And we subsequently went out and did a soil test pit, got down to over 40 inches deep here, showing the test pit log. So there was pretty good sandy material there. There was also some reduction in the footprint that the architect gave us. So that has been incorporated into what you see here. There is a pervious driveway that is proposed here coming off, but we are providing the requisite mitigation planting for the buffer zone. Those calculations are shown here. We're doing 200% of the 640 square feet in the buffer zone of the proposed impervious area here. So this is all proposed to be native mitigation planting here. There is outcropping of ledge here. And at the last hearing, there was some back and forth as far as ledge removal. I'm confident that ledge removal is going to be needed. However, the applicant has indicated they're using a new technology, the deck span expanding grout, which eliminates the need for any blasting. So that we accept a condition for no blasting on the property. And what they do is they drill these holes closer together and they put it in with this expanding grout deck span. And apparently it's been used extensively in other communities where blasting is just not possible. So so I'm curious to see how that works, but they've accepted that should the commission decide to prohibit any kind of blasting, they'll accept that condition. Again, we're in a buffer zone notice of intent here, and we are providing 200% mitigation planting, and we did add the test pit for the rain garden. We'll do. Obviously, everything gets approved through the city engineer during this the building permit process for drainage. So I can answer any questions you might have at this time.
Hey, thank you. We'll open up to public comment. Any members of the public who wish to comment on this project, please raise your hand.
We have one hand up on the Zoom, Sean McCormick.
Thank you. Good evening. It's Sean McCormick of Davis, Mallman, DeAugustine. I am here representing the the abutters on basically on either side. It's 9 High Rock, 9A High Rock, and 15 High Rock. But I guess my first question is really the resource area here is bank, and I've been through the filings so far, and I'm just sort of struggling to understand how we can evaluate the increased the increased impervious area that's going to flow towards the bank, and I'm not seeing anything akin to a stormwater report or any kind of stormwater numbers or drainage calculations. And so, I think my clients are sort of justifiably concerned about the health of the bank that either abuts their property or that comprises a portion of their property. Um, I guess the second thing is obviously I'm sure everyone's happy to hear that there's not going to be any blasting. But the removal of ledge is it's just another unknown that we're sort of struggling to figure out how we evaluate how the removal of ledge in the buffer is going to potentially affect stormwater flow towards the bank.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
We have no other hands up on Zoom and none here in person.
Hey, I guess we'll move to roll call commissioner comments, and after the commissioner comments, we'll make sure that you have a chance to respond to the public comments as well.
Thank you.
Member Cook. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I don't want to keep sneezing. I have no additional comments.
Member Sergeant.
All the watering must be adequately treated for being discharged, like a 2-year monitoring, the mortality and mitigation plantings, and obviously the condition of no blasting.
Member Siri.
My only question was about the coastal bank and which performance standard applies. If it's a sediment source, if that bank is a sediment source, then there's a requirement under 10.305 of a minimum condition. I think we first need to establish what's the nature of the bank, to determine whether that condition is required. Then I guess some analysis of whether that performance standard is met for the bank, because both of those have not just work on the bank, but work within 100 feet of a bank, have a performance standard about basically impacting the bank.
Member Jackson.
I didn't think sediment producing that.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not. Ledge removal. I will go a little softer than Mr. Sargent and absolutely try the grout. If for some reason that does not work and you feel the need to blast, please, you have to come back.
Agreed.
Okay. That's the extent of my comments.
Okay, you want to address the commissioner comments and the comments made by the.
Sure, the butters concerns as far as the bank, there's obviously a 20-foot wide paved roadway in between the subject property and the bank. There's also another 20 feet of plus or minus of vegetated grass shoulder there now and over toward and the bank is as pointed out by the members, is not sediment producing. This is a buffer zone application. We're not working directly on the bank. Obviously, that's off the property. And as far as any drainage, we're obligated to have no increase in offsite runoff. That's why we're showing the rain garden. It's pretty substantial as far as the volume and the capacity. The soil is very good in that area. And then we also have crushed stone and piping associated with that, with a robust amount of native planting for the uptake of drainage there. So in our opinion, it's going to be an improvement. And as far as the performance standards, as pointed out, the whether it's a sediment producing, then you go into other, but there's no activity on the bank. And in our opinion, it's not sediment producing. So really our responses. Thank you.
Hey. Any further comments from commissioners?
Well, we're ready to move forward.
Any comments from the agent?
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0283095 at 6. Bill, are you muted?
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Roll call, Member Cook.
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Member Terry.
Yes.
And Member Beck.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0283095 at 6 Brewster's Lane and 13 High Rock Terrace. The aforementioned conditions, including the use of expanding route or breaking up the ledge as a very, very high priority.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Call, Member Cook.
Yes.
Sergeant. Yes. Member Terry.
Yes.
And Member Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next item. NOI 0283097 at 9 Barberry Heights Road. Seth Goldstein is the applicant. It's a septic system and buffer zone to pond and bordering vegetated wetland. Seth Goldstein representing.
Not seeing Mr. Goldstein. If you're out there under a different name, if you can raise your hand and bring you up.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
correct.
there you are.
I thought I heard my name in it. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were that far along.
What an entrance.
Apologize.
I believe at the last meeting, all we were waiting on was a DEP number. We have that now, so I don't know if there's anything else that you want to address to us, but
No, I basically was gonna say, I'm just here to see if you had any additional questions and I'm not sure you got the number.
right, we're gonna do public comment and then commissioner comments. We'll see if there's anything else. So right now, we'll open up the public comment period. Any members of the public who wish to comment on this project, please raise your hand.
We have no hands up on the Zoom and none here in person.
Okay, we'll move to commissioner roll call comments.
Member Cook.
No comment. No comments.
Sergeant.
No comment.
Member Terry.
No comments.
Member Jackson.
No comment. Mr. Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0283097 at 9 Barberry Heights Road.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Roll call, Member Cook.
Yes.
Yes.
Member Terry.
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0283097 at 9 Barberry Heights Road with conditions previously discussed.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Call, Member Cook.
Yes.
Yes. Member Terry.
Yes.
And Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay.
Well said.
Perfect.
Thank you for
guys.
hearing.
Yes. All right, next item is NOI 0283002 at 22 Forest Lane. Jignesh Patel with the applicant. Discussion of a proposed revision of the planting plan. Greg Cefalo.
Yes, that's me. Greg Cefalo, I'm here representing the Patels. On line, we have Rue Sherwood from Sherwood Landscape Design, who had done the plan that was submitted for your review. And I'd like to bring her up and let her discuss the plan versus the original that was submitted. We've had a site review with Chuck, the agent, to see exactly what constraints we have for the plantings. And through.
Hi, do you want to see the plan or do you want me just to talk about it? Do you want to share my screen? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, unless Chuck can bring it up.
Do I hit share?
Oh, yeah, if you have it up, you want to share it, go ahead. Otherwise, I can bring it up.
Well, I'll share. Let's see, this one. Share. Can you see it or can you see my whole screen? This is it, I guess.
There we go.
Woo. Yes, can you see it? I can't see what you can see, unfortunately.
See it.
Okay.
Yeah, we see.
So
See it.
underneath my plan is the original approved plan. And what happened on this site is that because that driveway was very, very steep going straight up, if you can see the gray underneath, it was decided to make it a little safer and to realign it and to curve it so that it's not such a steep, crazy slope going up. And that's one thing that happened. And then also to support some of the grading, there's a boulder wall down along the street line. The very first thing is the proposed planting on the approved plan called for something like 74 2-inch caliper trees, and there's absolutely no way. I don't know how you could put those on that amount of space within this represents the jurisdictional area, 200-foot riverfront zone. And so they asked me to come up with another plan that is more feasible. So this shows 8 trees that are red maple and red oak that are 2 to 2.5 inch caliper. That's represented by this size circle. And there are 35 sweet fern all along this edge here, and 19 choke cherry, this size tree plant here, and blueberries is the other plant. The other thing I forgot to mention is that there is an overhead wire along the street down here. And so I was trying to keep tall plantings away from that overhead wire so that didn't create problems down the road. And there's also a power line that connects from this utility pole here up to a well that was put, that's the location of the well where it was as built. So, do you have questions?
Okay, thank you. We're gonna open it up to public comments now. Any members of the public who wish to comment on this project, please raise your hands.
We have no hands up on the Zoom and none here in person. And just to remind the commissioners, this is not an NOI hearing. This is to determine what direction, if commission's okay with this planting plan under the current order of conditions, or if they feel there's be an amendment or some other plan to go forward with this.
Okay, we'll do commissioner comments now. We'll go through all the commissioners and then you will have a chance to respond.
Member Cook, you're muted.
Yeah, and I know you said it's not as part of the NOI, but I think they go hand in hand here. The plan from March 27th, I believe it is, we show a deep swale over on the side to capture rainwater and all of that. I almost think we need to go back and approve the road changes that go into some of the resource area in that. And then go back and look at the plan for the plantings. If 37 trees were being taken down, that's where probably the 74 came from. If we can't put them in that area, I'm not adverse to putting them into another area on the property. But my opinion is I think we need to go back and look at the site plan first and see how that looks before we approve the planting plan. Planting plan looks good, don't get me wrong. But we haven't approved the road in the current position, so kind of hard to approve a planting plan for something we haven't approved yet.
Actually, the road realignment was approved under an amendment previously.
It was. Okay, then I have no problem with the planting plan.
Member Sergeant.
I do have a problem with the planting plan, and I think they have to go back for an amendment to the amendment in order to have this looked at properly, taking in all the considerations that probably 37 trees were removed. And it's riverfront, by the way.
Member Vasiri.
One question is how many plantings are shown on the planting plan of all sizes in total? And I think that this warrants an amendment as well. I agree with Commissioner Sargent in that regard.
And Member Jackson.
I agree with Mr. Sargent and Mr. Viteri. I think there's some question about this. We're pretty strict in enforcing the state regulations for 2-to-1 mitigation in the terms of the number of trees. We haven't done that.
Okay, do you have responses to the commissioner comments?
Do you have, does she have a total?
Yeah, do you?
Oh, you want the total number of plants?
Yes.
Share. Do you need to share again? Share.
You just tell us.
Sorry. 8 trees that are 2 to 2.5 inch caliper, and I'd have to do the math to tell you the total number of shrubs. 35 plus 19 plus 67, 121.
Okay. Do we have any other information we need from her, or we just need to figure out?
I think it still needs to be an amendment. If you can show that.
Do we want to take a vote?
I'm doing an amendment. I'd like to hear if Chuck has any additional comments.
Yeah, Chuck, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the concern with the discrepancy of 74 trees, now 8. But I also understand too the constraints there. I do think there is value in planting other strata of vegetation out there rather than just trees, as was originally proposed on the order of conditions. So maybe there's a happy medium of maybe additional trees, but also having these other strata in there. I think some of the concern too, typically the 2-to-1 is assuming that all those trees, though they might make it the first 2 years, they're not going to make it maturity. And I think the current proposed plan is assuming all those trees are going to make it to maturity and fill out. So maybe with that understanding, there can be additional trees planted with that achieves maturity. You have that canopy cover. But it sounds like there's interest in having this come back as an amendment.
Do you hear a motion?
Commissioner Jackson moves to have the applicants on NOI 0283002 for 22 Forest Lane file an amendment for the changed planting plan.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
I will call Member Cook.
Yes.
Yes. Member Terry.
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, is that clear?
I guess
Done it before. Do it again.
All right.
if there can be any guidance on,
I think they need to show that it would be the equivalent 2-to-1 mitigation through this new planting plan.
Rue has also done a landscape plan for around the house, which is pretty substantial.
Okay, let's see it all.
Okay,
Frosting on the cake.
do you want to see it now or do you want to see it,
Why don't you submit it as part of the amendment?
Right.
okay.
And one other thing is that the area that was delineated for this planting in the original plan is the area that we planted in the new plan. So we haven't decreased the size of the area that the planting was to take place. What we did was we worked within that parameter and came up with a reasonable plan that we felt would stand the test of time.
If you can show us how that's equivalent to the 2-to-1 mitigation with somewhat lesser number of trees than 74, and along with the other plantings to provide different levels. That would be appropriate.
Fair enough.
I like pollinators, by the way.
Yeah.
If I can say that the plants that were called out on that plant are things that I consider to be high-value pollinator plants, keystone species.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
If I get this stuff in, could I get in the next meeting?
The deadline's today for the next meeting, so probably not.
I'll be done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Moving to new business. We have RDA 1839 at 28 Beechcroft Road. Marina Dobbs is the applicant. This is driveway paving in riverfront area and buffer zone to coastal bank. Martin and Marina Dobbs representing.
Hi, thank you this evening for.
I just want to say that my name is Marina Dobbins. Dobbins. Same as.
Apologies.
That's
okay. Yeah.
Get it right.
I think, as you will see on the plans that we submitted, we've actually reduced the driveway. We pulled the shed closer to the house, so that's less area from our original driveway that we had there. Subsequently, I think on the map, you will see that we're planting trees. Going back to the 2-to-1 ratio, we're planting a 60-foot area of trees that have already been on the property that I've just seen the other day there, and they're hopefully being planted this week along there. And that will be 60 feet by 6 feet out, so allow for water to come into there. At the end of the driveway, there's a very large garden area too, where water will be coming into for this driveway, as well as another small one that we have there. In addition to that, what was requested of us when we were doing the renovation of this home. And by the way, we just moved in finally 12 weeks ago. So it's been a long road for us, literally. We planted the water infiltration system that was installed in the back of the home. That's 10 by 36. So all the gutter pipes go into that. So we really have outlined a way of really mitigating any water runoff at this stage. And we're hoping that between what we've done with the planting and the driveway sloping away from the house as well anyways, it's not going towards the south, just sloping away, that would show that the water is actually being able to absorb what's left. That is, because it's not coming off the roof, it's just really hitting the driveway at that stage. I'd also like to turn over to my wife Marina, read another key reason why we're asking for this asphalt driveway.
So my 88-year-old mother currently stays with us 1 to 2 days per week and will eventually move in with us for her safety, health, and well-being. Due to her disabilities, she has limited mobility. Uneven surfaces increase the risk of falling and are challenging for her to walk on due to previous hip, knee, and back surgeries. Because of her physical limitations and disabilities, she has a handicap permit for driving and uses a cane for assistance. ADA guidelines are helping us make the house and driveway accessible and safe, and will create a greater sense of independence when she visits and eventually lives there. To provide safe access from her car to the entry door and asphalt driveway leading to the garage is necessary for her safety and mobility. It is necessary, especially during the winter when there's snow and ice that impedes her path. Having an asphalt driveway will enable us to clear the driveway completely, ensuring a safe path.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna open up to public comments. And then we'll do commissioner comments. So anybody, any members of the public who wish to comment on this project, please raise your hand.
We have no hands up on the Zoom and none here in person.
Let's do commissioner roll call comments.
Member Cook.
I don't have a problem with the project as it's stated, but the drawing that you submitted says you're putting in a proposed permeable driveway.
Yes,
So you need to, your plan is to put asphalt in, which make it an impervious. So you just need to correct the language on the plan.
sure. Yeah, that was just a type of oversight then on our side. It's the asphalt driveway that we're requesting to put in.
That was the only comment I had.
Member Sergeant.
Did I hear you right? You're planning on planting some trees to mitigate for this? I'd like to make sure that they're native trees for this particular area. Maybe a 2-year monitoring for, the mortality of those trees.
I've seen the trees already we've got there. Definitely that's what we want to do.
Okay.
Similar to what you've heard this evening, we're also looking for native like shrubbery as well, like blueberries and everything of that nature too.
Well, we planted a dogwood, a flowering dogwood, and we have 10 arborvitaes
And
ready
we're
to go.
looking- We're looking to do some more some pollinating of the trees as well around there. This is what we had in our previous home. We kind of liked it.
The rest of the trees will plant probably in the springtime.
Member 2.
Is that, I saw on your plan, there's a note of a proposed gravel infiltration trench along the driveway. Did that get installed?
No, on the driveway, the gravel, no, we have on the side there, we haven't finished the outside of the house yet, other than what was done for the infiltration system for the back house, for the roof
It's in the
drainage
back.
system. That's all been installed.
So basically where this, yeah, right there in
The green part, yeah, that's gonna be the garden area, and that's where we're gonna have all the water come down, so we can put gravel there as well.
Yeah, I think there's, along the edge of the pavement, I think there's going to be a trench.
Yeah.
Along the edge of that
Well,
pavement.
that whole yellow area that you see with like an L shape there, that's where all the trees are coming in. That we're putting in there. So there'll be 10 arborvitaes that will be going down there, and that will be 6 feet wide. So there's plenty of trench movement for water to be absorbed there as well. And there at the bottom where the green part is where the garden will be as well. And that really is almost like a bowl in itself that captures water in there.
And the intent is that to capture water from the driveway?
Yes. Yeah.
It's that dark gray line that's the infiltration.
On the edge of that pavement.
That's still gonna be, done?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and Member Jackson.
You've had this project come in before with an NOI, which has gone forward and, okay. I guess I also support the project. I guess my only question is, all of the planting that you're doing, is some of it in addition to what the previous NOI requested, so that you're mitigating for the new impervious?
We haven't stated that there, but we will be putting a lot of plants on the property. So even though we're planting in the additional trees as requested in shrubbery, we intend to add more plants throughout the property. More so, I think, pollinating and for more of the wildlife that's around there as well. I'd like to see more of that.
You're good with this, Chuck?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, it's a decrease in the overall footprint because they're moving that shed.
Okay.
So the footprint of the disturbance was already approved. So by moving that shed where the blue square is now, they're actually decreasing the overall footprint of that driveway. It's just a matter of making it impervious versus pervious. I think as long as it's capturing that runoff adequately, I think.
I'm good with it.
Are 2 rows of cobblestones at the apron, is that enough to capture runoff?
Well, we think so because a lot of that is coming down through into that big garden area as well. And you'll see there's also a small garden to the left that we're planting as well. You can see those 2 cars right there. If you look to the left there, that's also going to be another small garden area. So we're going to have 2 garden areas at the end of the driveway, as well as the rows of cobblestones.
The slopes
coming
down.
down.
The pitch isn't too steep on it, so I don't think, it's not gonna be a
Yeah.
rushing sheet flow of water there.
All right. Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0283002. Nope. And Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for RDA 1839 at 28 Beechcroft Road.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Call Member Cook,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves for a negative determination for RDA 1839 at 28 Beechcroft Road, as described.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Call Member Cook,
Yes.
yes, Member Terry,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to the next item of new business. NOI 0283098 at 50 Essex Avenue, City of Gloucester, DPW is the applicant. This is for the addition of a secondary treatment system. The existing water pollution control. From flowage, buffer zone to go for the first areas. Lisa Gloucester from Tetra Tech.
Yeah, I might start off. Okay, good evening, members of the commission. My name is Bob Parsons. I'm a project manager at Tetra Tech. I'm joined by Tom Keefe, who's a design manager at Tetra Tech. We also have Lisa and Sean Foster from Tetra Tech that's going to present virtually. We wanted to be here just in case we brought some plans as well. It was easier for the members to see that. Eric Kelly's also attending virtually from Apex Companies. A lot of history on this site, so we have the right folks on. And I believe Siobhan Callahan may also be virtually present. She is an engineer with the City of Gloucester.
Siobhan on here yet, but everybody else,
Okay, maybe Dana. Is Dana on there by chance? Okay.
she is.
Okay. So, but Lisa will, it's okay with the commission. Lisa will lead the presentation and we're here to support. Lisa, if you're there.
And audio. Okay, there we go. Good evening, Lisa Carrozza with Tetra Tech. Hopefully you can all see the screen. As Bob mentioned, this project is on behalf of the city to implement secondary treatment at the existing treatment facility. The purpose of the project is actually to be in accordance with a consent decree that was issued by both EPA and DEP. So the city is under a mandate, if you will, to get this secondary treatment plant up and running. So if we look at this overall site plan right here, this existing conditions, we can see that the majority of the existing features are on the eastern portion of the site. The western portion of the site, which contains some trees, is going to be the focus of the majority of the new components. What's interesting to us is when we were doing some research for this project initially, and we were looking at permits that were filed back in the 70s when the original plant was constructed and permitted, the secondary treatment was actually shown on this portion of the site. So it appears that it was always intended for the site to have a full build out with secondary treatment. So we zoom in a little bit here to an aerial photo. The red represents the entire parcel that the city owns. The blue color here represents the flood barrier berm that was constructed. So all the work will be taking place within the flood barrier wall and berm. So if we go to the existing conditions plan, for a second, we have wetlands that are exterior to the flood berm and flood wall on either side, on the east and west sides. We also have wetlands across Essex Avenue. So we have a 100-foot buffer zone from each one of those series of wetlands that is cast onto the project site. So this is the wetland limit in green, and here's the buffer zone all the way around to here. So what I will point out is there is a perennial tributary across Essex associated with the Annisquam. that does project a 200-foot riverfront area onto the site. However, there are provisions in the Wetlands Protection Act that for sewer treatment facilities and plants, expansions or new, the performance standards for riverfront area, we don't have to abide by those. Those are relaxed. So if we look at the site, we also have a number of trees that you saw in the aerial photo. We did a tree inventory, and there are approximately 33 trees that will have to be removed in that area to facilitate construction. So if we look at this site layout, I can tell you it's extremely tight. Almost every square foot of this site is going to be occupied by a project component. So we have these clarifier tanks, and just to give you a scale for an order of magnitude, these are 90 feet in diameter each. These are very large tanks. We also have aeration tanks in the buffer zone, a building. We'll be improving the emergency access in the back. We have additional parking spaces, and the gray represents the addition of pavement. Right now, that's majority of this is gravel, and that will tie into the existing pavement that's there today. So two things I just want to mention. One is we recognize the fact that the trees are part of your ordinance. We will be removing 33 trees, and we were hoping to have a meaningful location as to where to put those trees, because there's no space on this project site. There's just really no room to put them. So we were hoping to work with the commission and perhaps the tree warden to come up with a meaningful location, maybe somewhere else in the city that the commission owns a property or owns a park that they want to see enhanced. But we're really pressed for space on this site for the trees. And we would respectfully request a condition that we appear before you with a tree plan, replacement plan, for review and approval prior to the issuance of the certificate of compliance. The other component to this that's an administrative ask, if you will, is the construction is expected to start in 2026, and it'll go on for between 4 and 5 years. So there is a provision in the Wetlands Protection Act that allows the commission to issue a 5-year order, and we would respectfully request that you entertain that request of a 5-year order. So that said, I'm going to turn it over to Sean Foster, who's our civil engineer, and he will go over some of the project components and the grading and the stormwater. I don't know if you can.
Thanks, Lisa. Good night. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, just to expand upon what Lisa kind of discussed, the project is proposing paved driveway and access road on the western portion of the facility. That does include 12 additional parking spaces, which is shown on the plan above. There is, as part of the previous flood mitigation project, there was an emergency access way that was installed on the south side of the project facility. We're proposing to install pervious pavers to kind of connect the paved driveway to that emergency access. The existing access, which is primarily gravel, we're going to maintain as is, size and slope, but we are proposing some stabilization measures to add to the steeper portion of the slope. The existing site is fairly flat, generally 1 to 2% slopes. Aside from the deep excavations required for the structure foundations, some site grading will be required for stormwater management purposes. In regards to stormwater management, the project has been designed in accordance with the Mass DEP Stormwater Handbook. It is considered a new development because we are increasing impervious area. Currently, the site has 3 existing discharges, stormwater discharges from the project area. One to the north, one to the east, and then one to the southwest. We're not proposing any new discharges. We're not even going to modify or upsize with what these are. We're just going to connect to them and utilize them as they are today. Our geotechnical subconsultant did a pretty rigorous subsurface investigation, which include test pits, borings, monitoring wells, and infiltration testing. Based on those results, it's mostly a fill condition. And the soil hydraulic group is a C, with groundwater, seasonal high groundwater around 3 to 5 feet below ground surface, depending on where you are on the site. So due to kind of the nature of the facility operations and the numerous subsurface proposed utilities and the somewhat high groundwater and soil conditions, infiltration is only provided, or recharge is only provided to the maximum extent practicable. Okay, and that is allowed for sea soils under the Stormwater Handbook. For water quality, primarily paved areas and other impervious areas will be captured by catch basins with deep sumps and then directed through a particle separator to provide 80% TSS removal. One kind of little tidbit to this project is the existing headworks building receives offsite wastewater from offsite septic haulers. And they connect to discharge their load into the treatment train. Now, this area is these pollutants are discharged directly into the process, but they're in a remote chance that some of those pollutants could come in contact with stormwater flow from like a rainfall event. Any area where they're loading, unloading is going to be completely segregated from the stormwater flow. And what I mean by that, it will be be graded and captured by its own catch basin and directed back into the pumping system to be collected and treated as part of wastewater. Again, just a mitigation measure to eliminate any chance of that happening. That kind of wraps up my piece of the presentation. I'll turn it over to the commission if they have any questions or would like to discuss anything more.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll open it up to public comments. Any members of the public who wish to comment on this project, please raise your hand.
We have no hands up on the Zoom and none here in person.
Commissioner roll call comments.
Member Cook. You're muted.
The only comment I have is in reference to the trees. We may be able to find some other areas within the city, but I'd like to consider, and I don't know how the other commissioners feel about this, is possibly putting a row of salt marsh tolerant trees just along the outside of the berm. So that we can have some of the trees along that area. That's my only comment.
Member Sargent.
I'm curious what the increases in impervious surfaces are within the buffer zones. And I know this project has been kicked down the road for decades. I'm not in favor of kicking down the road for decades a planting plan. I agree that we want to pay homage to, the persistence of this project, but I think we need some kind of a mitigation and planting plan. A suggestion, and I don't want to design it for you, but there's 17.5 acres totally, and a lot of it are wetlands and salt marsh. It really could do a wetland restoration project, and there's invasive species in particularly the area facing Western Avenue. There's room for plantings there. That's a suggestion, and I think there's opportunity to get that, but please don't kick this down the road for another couple of decades.
Member was hearing.
I also like the idea of a potential wetland restoration project as mitigation on the same parcel, or maybe in the vicinity around that area of 133 and So that I think is a very good idea, something that is worth considering. I'm also in favor of the 5-year order of conditions. I guess my one question is about the Headworks building, about where the private septic discharges is deposited. Where, in what scenario does that mix with stormwater? Is that in the process of unloading the trucks, or is it sort of in the process of treatment of the material itself? Is that come into contact with stormwater? How does that work? We're gonna get through all the commissioner comments, so just put a note down on that question.
Member Jackson.
I concur with trying to keep as much planting on site as possible. I'm not averse to putting some off site, but I think there is opportunity here for on-site planting and restoration. Other than that, I really don't have any additional comments. Chuck, did you have some comments?
The only addition that I would have is that I think there might also be opportunity for plantings along the seawall by the high school. It's right across the river, so it's fairly local to this project and also city-owned property. So that might be an area to look at as well.
Okay. We will certainly look on site first, behind the barrier. I think, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was a planting plan associated with the barrier project as well, behind the berm. So I don't want to interfere with that.
You're correct, Lisa. The planting plan was mostly along Essex,
Okay.
between the wall and the right of way for Essex. There was some additional plantings and seed mixes put down on the bank, kind of between the BVW and the top of the berm on the western side of campus. We did not do any plantings to the wetland side of the sheet pile wall on the east side of campus. Which the primary reason was we were dealing with coastal bank to the east, immediately east of the sheet piles and immediately west of the berm. So we had to minimize how much we were doing there. But some work was done on the western side and along Essex, nothing on the eastern side.
Okay. So we will certainly look to see what we can do on site behind the berm and try to maximize that. And perhaps if there's any leftover that we can't accommodate on site, to look off site.
When do you plan on starting to work? I mean, I know we want to get the planting plan going. But are you like contingent on our approval before you can start work? Or do you have other permitting in that you need to get done?
Once we receive the order of conditions, we have to get a Chapter 91 license. That's already in the works. So that will be a few months to get that license. So we could be working on the planting plan in the meantime.
And you can't get a Chapter 91 until you have our approval.
Exactly. They have started their review though, because they know this is time critical, time sensitive.
I don't know how the other commissioners feel about possibly approving this contingent on, a planting plan being submitted at some determined time.
I'm not in favor of that.
You're not in favor of that?
No, I want a planting plan or a restoration plan in hand. I don't want checks in the mail type of thing, because essentially that's been the trademark of this project is, we'll do it, and they kick the can down the road. I have no faith that a planting plan in the future will come to fruition. Track record just isn't there.
You get a planting plan or some outline of a plan, an idea, at least some meaningful step towards a plan by the next meeting?
I don't want to speak for. I think we can
start that process, certainly. Whether, I guess, we can have it by next meeting, I guess we'll talk to our internal team.
I think Noah may have even looked at some wetland restoration projects, you know, on that property. So that may be, you know, a little bit of a hint that I'm giving you.
Right. We honestly didn't pursue wetland restoration because the impacts are limited to the buffer zone. So typically we look at wetland restoration if there's a direct impact to a wetland resource area, but because we were just in the buffer zone, we were thinking it was just going to be the tree replacement.
Well, why don't you see what you can figure out? You've heard where we all stand. So see what you can figure out. We'll continue.
Well, I have
to
one
the next.
question
Sure,
about the
sorry.
septic offloading.
Yeah, Sean, I don't know if you want to handle that, but I think
Yeah, there was a couple questions actually. The first was the increase in impervious area, right? So just on the holistic site, we're increasing the impervious by about an acre. I don't have the breakdown of how much of that's in the buffer zone, but a good portion of it's in the buffer zone. You know, one thing I do want to point out, which is kind of unique to this project, is a lot of the impervious area is actually not even going to contribute to, you know, some of the standards like water quality and peak rate, because they're open air, right? Like the clarifiers and the aeration tanks are completely open air. So any water that falls on them, you know, it just goes as part of the treatment system. Doesn't create additional runoff, right? So that's something that we talked about in the stormwater report. Just want to clarify. But generally, we're looking at increasing total impervious area about an acre. The second question was in regards to the septic deliveries, right? So right now the Headworks building, and Lisa, I don't know if you could bring that up again. They deliver on the east side of the facility, and they just have usually a hose that connects to the back of the truck, and that kind of dumps right into the treatment system. The situation that could happen is that that whole area where the truck is kind of open air, right? And kind of exposed to rainfall, right? So in the incidental chance, right, that there's an accident or something that happens during this process, whether the hose is leaking or there's some incidental like spillage from the hose when they're doing this, that any rainfall or anything that falls in that area would be collected into like a, you know, typical catch basin and directed into the system. So I don't think it happens all the time, but it's a situation that could happen, right?
It's not a planned occurrence. I think it's a belt and suspenders.
Yeah, exactly.
Normal situations, they connect, all the flow goes through.
Right.
In a rare event, a gallon or two left in the hose spills on the ground. That's going to be captured now better than it is presently being captured.
Okay. There's a contained catch basin system where it goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It will not be discharging to any receiving waters. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's treatment on that specific part of the catch basin, that stormwater system has treatment for.
That one catch basin goes back to the head of the plant and will
Okay.
flow through the treatment plant. That's not being discharged through those three locations he pointed out.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is that all of our outstanding questions?
So,
Just in terms of process, I guess it sounds like the planting plan is really the one large issue that you want to resolve before moving forward. Just in terms of framework for that plan, just so we know we're kind of moving in the right direction. Is there any guidance that you can provide, or you want to leave it up to us to sort of come up with some? Because the site is constrained, I just don't want to fall short on something. And that's why we sort of looked at offsite type mitigation.
Generally, offsite is when you can't do it on site.
Right.
Right. And there's some area where I think there's some invasive species that are on site that that can be taken, as a credit. And if you can look on site anywhere within, the lot lines or that, do that first. That's preferable. And it doesn't have to be trees, as you heard, it could be shrubs, smaller ground cover, and people, have mentioned already that, there's a preference for pollinators and things like that. That can be taken into consideration too. And if there's any opportunity for wetland restoration, even if it's in a resource area, that's appreciated. So, and there may even be some grants, for some of the wetland restoration. I know in the past there was. I was heavily involved in it.
Yeah.
So
I think we were looking at, I don't want to speak for everybody. I think we're looking at any offsite restoration would be a large scale project in and itself. And we were trying to meet the spirit of this consent decree, first and foremost, providing secondary treatment to a plant that's currently.
I totally appreciate the consent decree. I was a health agent for quite a while. That's not the Conservation Commission's, burden to bear. Ours is to, protect the environment. So, it's the right sermon, but the wrong church.
Did you look at specific offsite projects?
No, we've had some discussions with the tree warden to just even consider, is there something in the city, elsewhere in the city, that we can consider providing some restoration or some trees to offset the removals that are happening on site. And I think there is definitely some interest there. I think with the understanding that the mitigation would be well in place and healthy by the time the certificate of compliance was requested. So over the time of construction. One of the things that makes this project a little bit unique is the fact that it's being delivered through a construction manager at risk delivery method. So it's not your typical design bid build. So the city's recently brought on a contractor to the team. The team being Tetra Tech, Apex, the city, and now the contractor. It's a little bit different in that design isn't taken to 100% then bid to a contractor. It's a collaborative thing now to work site and making this work first and foremost to meet the discharge requirements for the NIPD's permit, but also the entire site and all the things that we want to see on site. Which makes it a little bit unique in that developing a plan for that and working with the contractor firsthand is what we'll have to do.
I'd like to put on a caution that I would not be in favor of replacement trees on the Rockport line or the Manchester by the Sea line or the Essex line or something. It'd have to be something fairly close, like working outwards from that. Tree warden may have his favorite place that he wants trees to be, but that's not our mandate.
Yeah, understood. I think we wanted to start with the commission first and find out if these would have to be done with your concurrence and your approval too. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd like to see something in at least a jurisdictional area, not on the middle of an upland somewhere that the city owns.
Yeah.
And aren't something that we would speak to. I think at a minimum, it would have to be somewhere along a resource area or in a buffer zone or resource area.
Yeah.
And trees is one thing, but also, I like Dave mentioned, be credit for other ecosystem services, wetland functionality improvements, sort of mitigation.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 028-3098 at 50 Essex Avenue to the Conservation Commission meeting.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
We'll call Member Cook.
Yes.
Yes. Member Siri.
Yes.
And Member Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to certificates of compliance. First one request. It's for 1933 at 3 Walk Lane. Discussed earlier in the meeting, we're going to be continuing this. 12th board meeting.
Yes.
Need to even move that?
Chuck said we just
It's-
move it to,
Yeah, it
not,
doesn't need
not
to
move it
be,
motion, but move it.
Yeah.
Onwards.
it's-
Push it away.
yeah, it's not a public,
The next one is request for certificate of compliance for 028-2456 at 25 Salt Island Road.
yeah, Katie, went out and visited that site and she thought everything looked good. There were no continuing conditions on that order of conditions.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to approve our COC 028-2456 at 25 South Island.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook,
Yes.
President,
Yes.
Member Terry.
Yes. All right, violations. First one, EO 2408 at Whistle Stop Way.
Yeah, so they have completed their planting and seeding. They were supposed to start their non-native removal for the Phragmites last week or this week, and so far they haven't been out there yet. I know we did have a lot of rainy and windy days in there, and we're following up with them to get an update on that schedule.
Phragmites, that essentially we're just going to cut them.
There are certain areas where they're going to possibly mow them, where it's just we don't want to stand of just Phragmites, but they are also growing up spottily amongst where they've done some of the planting. So that they're going to be doing targeted, so they're not taking out what they planted.
But they're mechanically or physically removing them, not using herbicides.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. I think that should wrap us up with that for the season, and then probably try to get an idea of when they're going to start back up any kind of activities. Spring. Following up on that one.
And, just because of, this doesn't really start a growing season. It will be next year will be the growing season. So 2025 isn't calculated.
For the mitigation
Okay.
monitoring.
Yeah. Especially this late in the season, for sure.
We already talked about 145.
Yep. And then we did have one item that didn't make it on the agenda, and that was for the enforcement order for RDA 1767 for Atlantic Street Waterline. We do have a couple folks here. We got Scott Cameron. Somebody else here too as well. They are looking to request a return to compliance for the restoration portion of the work. It's been a while since we've talked about this one. I don't know if the commission remembers the culvert portion of the work was given over to the city due to a resolution they had. And that recently was approved by the commission for the replacement a month or so ago. So that was kind of taken out of the enforcement order at that point. So the main remaining things out there were kind of to stabilize that bank, as well as to revegetate some portions of the road shoulder that were not proved to be used for staging, but were reused, and then they're starting to be used for parking. And there's concern because it's very close to the river there. Reestablish that buffer zone. Scott Cameron is here to officially request the return to compliance.
Yes, good evening, Chuck, and thank you for setting the table, and good evening, commission members. If you see Bob is on as well, if you do see him, to add him as a panelist. Will Nucio from Procopio, who I know you spoke to and met with earlier today and last week, Chuck, he had something come up and he had to step away from the meeting. He was on earlier, so I'm going to cover for him. Is Bob Bob Abrantino, as counsel for Procopio, is on as well. So I know it's late. I do have the original kind of mitigation plan and some photos if you like a quick refresher on where this is. I can pull up my screen. So this is at the corner of Atlantic Street where it splits with Atlantic Ave at Castleview Drive. And it was March, it was May 2023 actually when the work was underway, and a portion of this culvert when they were excavating for the water main collapsed. There was some resulting uh, uh, miscommunications, if you will, with the construction team that was doing the work. The enforcement order was issued on June 8th of 2023. I got involved shortly after that. And at the time I got involved, they had already done quite a bit of stabilization and brought it down, but we had a series of meetings on site with Chuck, with your commission, although I don't think everybody was here for all of these, but kind of the condition when we started conversations after the work was done is in this picture on the left. They had put some silt socks, molt socks up. Some restoration work had occurred. We took it another whole step, and we designed some shoulder reinforcements out of some of the native field stone that is present there, as well as some blast rock that we took from the nearby construction site, uh, stabilizations with uh, wattles and jute wattles and things of that nature. And as of last week, this is a picture of what it looks like today. There were, in addition to seating, netting, stone reinforcement, they also put in a lot of plugs that were put in at this time. You can see just how the plugs and the grass and everything came up through all the stone and really took well in this area. Um, Chuck can speak to it, having from his perspective as well. You can kind of see in the background of this picture the culvert here, where we did place stone above this to protect it as well. This is a new section of culvert that was put in, and then it continues on around the corner. So in total, it looks very stable. Procopio did replace a compostable mulch sock for a section right here. This is the one that was just before they replaced it. And in addition to this, there was a settlement with a financial contribution made for eventual replacement of the culvert, which the DPW, the city would undertake. So those funds would go towards that. And in addition, what you won't see in the photos, but I can say this because I was out there actually doing this work myself with the construction team. We pulled. There was some gravels. You kind of see them on the edge in the photo on the left. Some of this gravel had gone into the stream bed. So I was in there by hand with a mud rake, kind of scooping out that gravel, and we cleaned that up as best you can. And I'd be hard pressed to say you could see any of it today. So yeah, we are asking to lift the enforcement order, having gone through effectively 2 full seasons now of establishment, and it hasn't gone, it hasn't moved, hasn't gone anywhere. They've come back and touched up the road shoulders, which are upwards of 500 feet south of the area of impact, to some areas where just people on the road pull off on the shoulder. So we've gone back and done some more stabilization work and trying to get the shoulder stabilized. It's a tough corner. The road was built right along the stream bed. Um, so I think the way it is now is actually better and more stable than what it was when before the violation happened, which is good. And I will say too that during the work we found some of the original measures that were put in to support the road, which consisted of effectively like plywood that was kind of rebarred in and just kind of stuck in the ground to kind of hold the bank in place. So that's all been removed and replaced with the stone. Happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you. Do you want to do commissioner comments?
Yeah. Member Cook,
No, I drive by it every day. It's stable and I don't have any issues.
Member Sergeant,
If Commissioner Cook's good with it, I am too.
Member Terry,
No comments from me.
Member Jackson.
None for me, Chuck.
No, I think it all looks, yeah, I think it looks, equally good and parts of it better than how it was before. I did just want to point out that, let's see, in the enforcement order, number 4 did ask for a final report to be submitted prior to the commission issuing the release from the enforcement order. I think it, from my standpoint, it'd be fine if that's submitted.
Say a written report?
Let's see.
I can certainly supplement it, Chuck, with, we had done the SWIP, we were doing the SWIP inspections up until recently as well, when just it was stable. So we had done we went through a notice of termination process too, and I think you were contacted at that time. I sure as hope my staff did contact you because I directed them to, but I can certainly get you a report and put my stamp on it that I'm satisfied with the work.
I think if the commission wants to, agree to issue the return to compliance and then just make it, that we don't send it out until we receive that report.
Okay.
No, I don't have. Go ahead.
Commissioner Jackson moves to vote a return to compliance for the restoration portion of the Atlantic Street water line project contingent upon receipt of a written report.
Commissioner Cook seconds.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great night.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to the 3 Welsh Lane certificate of compliance request.
Yep.
Did you get that letter from? I mean, you obviously did. You put it into the folder, but do you have any thoughts on that letter from the abutter?
I'd have to look at that again. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty long.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it totally touched on any outstanding issues or if up and raised in prior meetings. It talks about a lot of things from like 2017 and 2016. May be addressed by this certificate of compliance and other stuff that's done, and maybe it's addressed in some of what we've talked about in the new NOI.
Yeah, I'll take a closer look at that. I don't know that I fully reviewed that one.
Oh, that's Joel Swan. He usually knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, he's been to a lot of previous meetings about this. But yeah, I'll take a look at that. We'll go out and look for the existing signage along that retaining wall and see if it's there. And then, yeah, I guess we have until the 3rd to kind of take a closer look at that and see how it lines up with that certificate.
Okay. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Moved. A second, whatever.
Roll call, Member Cook.
No.
Thank you, Perry.
Member Sergeant?
Yes.
Member Terry?
Yes.
Member Jackson?
Yes.
3-1, Bill, you got outvoted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it's 2-2 doesn't pass, we're going to sit here.
You can only vote no if you're in chocolates.
There you go.
All righty. Thanks, Bill.
Everybody.